Okay, so some of you know I've got a thread running on MRH on building a curved crossing, and I've been messing about making fixtures to cut laps. Dave Hussman's video on lap cutting is quite intriguing, but I'm not a big fan of trying to hold a Dremel to get a smooth result. So you'll notice in here in this ER32 collet holder is a 1/16 end mill, and over here is what I'm calling the bottom lap fixture, which I made out of a chunk of aluminum that I got out of the scrap bin at Metal Supermarket. And I drilled some holes in it for bigger bolts too, for some other things I got in mind for it. But these little holes are tapped for 2mm metric machine screws, and you can see them here holding the crossing. Now the idea with this thing is to be able to run a milling cutter along the blue line, and you can kind of see some razor thin scoring on there. That's the outside of the rail, and I've got a push gauge, which I forgot to pull out on the table here, that I use to figure out when the gap is wide enough. There's more precise ways to do it, but good enough for the kind of girls I go out with. So this is what happens is there's a V groove in the back jaw of the vise that hopefully I'll be able to feel when it's in here and set up there. I can just feel it there. And the idea is to get the cutter lined up, and a guy might have to turn this in between the two rail sets to keep it precise, but it's you know, for illustration purposes, it's good enough. And I won't do it now. I won't try to cut it, but you can see moving the mill, I'll be able to get it set up exactly the way I want it, and just twist this into position until it's just right, and then tighten the vise up. So that's the bottom lap. The top laps, I previously made this fixture, and now it has a base that can rotate as well in that vise, so that I'll be able to get a precise angle on there. And then the second one I made was quite pretty, but I managed to bugger it up cutting the insulation gaps, and partly just because I didn't have enough solder on it, but I got a solution for that too. There's a couple of different spots on this mill where I can fasten something, and I think probably the safety shield mount will be the place I do it. I'm going to make a holder for my Dremel, and this gadget here came with my Dremel vise, and it's basically got a square thing on it, and it goes over the nose of the Dremel. They have a funny thread, I can't remember what it is, quarter 12 or something like that, or 19mm, but this negates having to worry about that, because this screws on to the Dremel and sandwiches this piece, and then it goes in a Dremel vise normally, which is, this little guy is what it's engineered for, but it'll work just fine for what I'm trying to do here. And then what I want to do, I got this handy right angle gadget for my Dremel, and it's just taped so we don't lose the collets. But the idea here is when the Dremel goes up and down like this, if there's a disc in the end of this thing, it'll cut a perfect slit straight up and down. And those infamous little discs with the Dremel that'll take your eye out if they break, it's usually because of lateral force or stress on them. So with this setup, it'll just be very straight up and down and absolutely precise. So hopefully I won't wreck any more crossings. This is the first one I made over here. He's a souvenir. He'll get framed. He works great. The wheels go through him just perfect, but he's ugly as sin. So the thing that put me onto this need for a lap fixture was these horrid bloody gaps in here. I don't like doing anything kind of half-assed, so that's why I'm wasting all this time milling attachments. Anyway, I'll cut it later, and I'll either make another video or just take some still photographs of the thing in use. But that's basically what I've been up to, making all these fixtures, and this one's ready to cut top and bottom. The rails are already made and for the top. So there you go. That's it for now.